my balls.
Hello people and welcome to IWPC 316 as we bring our first ever Shoot the Shit since our re-debut here to YouTube. For anyone who doesn't know, Shoot the Shit is just a discussion show where me and Brian talk about anything and everything. And first off, we have a very special birthday to announce, Mr. Homer J. Simpson.
Yay. You can still play with my balls.
No, thank you. You must not be getting it at home if you're asking me to play with your balls.
No, I didn't ask. I told you to play with them.
So you want me to play with your balls?
Yeah, I got a couple new footballs and baseballs yesterday off eBay.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, let's move into a movie that's coming out this week over here in the UK and Ireland, and I think it's next week in America, Iron Man 3. Do you think this is where the Iron Man franchise needs to stop?
I don't know. I really wasn't super psyched about Iron Man 3 the last time, aka The Avengers.
The Avengers, the most overrated movie I've seen in a long time.
Iron Man 3 comes out tomorrow in the States. I've actually got the next 10 major announced comic book movies in front of me.
Yeah, I actually heard that Ant-Man is finally coming out.
Yeah, Ant-Man will be out June 11th, 2015.
Yeah, Edgar Wright is on the direction staff for that, so that should be interesting because Edgar Wright, in my opinion, is one of the best directors in Hollywood at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, we get 3 comic book movies this year alone. We got Iron Man 3 coming out tomorrow. In July, we get the Wolverine in 3D. And then we get Thor on Halloween Day. So, I don't understand why we're doing another Hugh Jackman Wolverine movie, though. I mean, he already had the prequel, so what's more to do?
Yeah, I don't get why they did the prequel and then they're going to jump straight into a sequel of X-Men 3. It's a fierce jump because, like, the first Wolverine movie actually leaves the gateway to do a sequel to that.
Yeah. Well, no, they had the Wolverine movie in 3D, and then the next X-Men movie will come out in July of next year.
Yeah, that's Day of the Futures, which actually looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying looks awesome as in trailers or pictures, because I don't think there's any trailers out for it, but the storyline is one of the best storylines the X-Men ever did to comics.
Well, I mean, the poster for it shows Patrick Stewart and Magneto, I can't remember the guy's name, Ian McKellen,
yeah,
on the poster with their counterparts from First Class. So.
Yeah, for anyone that knows anything about X-Men, like, I'm not going to say or claim that I'm a master of X-Men universe, but this is an awesome storyline. It really is. When the time jump, you ask any X-Men fan what is one of their favourite stories, and they're going to say Day of the Futures.
Are they going to bring Cable into this? You heard anything?
I don't know. See, the thing about the X-Men is they want to keep it quiet what new characters they're bringing in. Like, they kept what they brought in First Class very quiet.
Yeah.
So, like, when you go, it's actually a good thing that you get these shock values, because I know a lot of X-Men fans, they didn't hold high expectations for First Class, and First Class blew them away. In fact, when we did our top 10 movies of all time, X-Men First Class was actually in one of my honorable mentions. Because I actually, yeah, I think that is an awesome, and I mean awesome, comic book movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And I'm not a massive X-Men fan. Like, the first 3 X-Men, I think are okay movies, all 3 of them. Even number 2, I know number 2 a lot of people put up with The Dark Knight. But I just don't really see it. Because it's just, here's the characters, here's what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. But with the First Class, it's like, this is why they're doing this. Explains this, and this is why this character's gone this way. Like, we actually get a good reason in why Magneto is gone bad. We never got that in X-Men. It's just like, oh yeah, he's bad.
Yeah, I brought it up on IMDb, the X-Men movie Days of Future Past. They have just about everybody that already has known characters labeled. However, they have 1, 2, 3 that do not have their characters on here yet. But apparently we are bringing Blink into the movies. So.
Yeah, what I don't get is that I think it should have been reversed here. I think they should have brought out Days of Futures Past this year, and then you have the Wolverine movie next year. Because Days of Future Past, Hugh Jackman has to be involved in it because you're going back to the present days. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that you could have built a storyline about that something happened on Days of Futures Past which made Wolverine go to Japan. Like, anyone that saw the post-credit scene of the first Wolverine movie knows that there's a scene where he's in Japan's airport.
I would have to go pull it off the DVD shelf. I can't remember.
No, don't. It would take too long, but there is a post-credit scene. But let's get back to Iron Man 3 as we're talking about. Iron Man 1 and 2 has been... Okay, Iron Man 1 got rave reviews. But it came out a couple of months before The Dark Knight. And when The Dark Knight came out, everyone lost their fucking shit. Iron Man 2, it was met with... I'm going to say okay. Everyone was kind of like, oh, it's an okay sequel. But I have to say, by looking at the few trailers for Iron Man 3, this looks like it could be a very good movie.
Yeah. Iron Man 2 is just not memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole problem I had with it. It just, nothing stuck out. I mean, the Avengers was okay, but it was Iron Man 3. And I'm not just saying that to be, cute or anything. It just really didn't seem like it had anything. And according to IMDb, though, Iron Man 3 comes out here in the States on May 3rd.
Yeah. I think it's getting an IMAX release next week first. I think it's going to release in IMAX first and then theatrical releases.
Yeah.
But, no, what you're saying about the Avengers actually makes a lot of sense because a lot of the storyline revolves around how Tony Stark is going to develop these new suits.
Yeah, but I think they skipped ahead like 15 suits from the comic books.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think they only had Robert Downey Jr. up for contract for the 3 Iron Man movies and the Avengers movie. So I think they wanted to get the whole story arc into it.
Mm.
Now, one of the problems I have with Iron Man 2 is that Captain America and Thor kind of have a thing for the Avengers. Like, there's an underneath to it that, look, the Shield is involved with this, and you get post-credit scenes. That wasn't the case in Iron Man 2, if you remember. The whole fucking film was about the Shield.
Yep.
It was, how I could best describe Iron Man 2, it was like a 2.5 hour trailer for the Avengers.
Yep. I still... The Avengers, I mean, it's a good popcorn flick movie, but it's just...
It gets completely overrated. When I see people comparing it to The Dark Knight Rises, I'm like, it's not even on the same level.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not acting like a film.
To me, The Dark Knight Rises, which isn't even my favorite in the series, that's not a popcorn movie. That's a, psychological thriller that just happens to have Batman in it.
Yeah, that's what everyone always says about Christopher Nolan's trilogy.
And you could see the ending coming with Bane and Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Yeah, if you read the comic books, you could see that coming. But for people that didn't read the comic books, it was still a good twist.
No, I mean, I'm not a avid comic book fan, but I could see that coming. I wouldn't have picked Ra's al Ghul's daughter, but I knew she was going to be involved in it because she wanted that technology and blah, 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 blah. So that, you could kind of see that coming. You don't see The Dark Knight coming. that ending. So with the explosive bombs and the prisoners throwing the stuff out of the boat and all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually do say that. I think The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight, like yet again we go back to our top 10 list, I put them as my two favourite movies of all time. And the reason is that I love comic book movies, I love dramas, and it's just, as you said, it's a psychological thriller with Batman in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Arkham Asylum right now on my Xbox. It's one of the few mornings I'm not playing before I go to work because I got up early. But I love the dark Batman, detective crime, finding out all the ins and outs. I love that stuff. So, I just don't have time to sit and read comic books. I mean, I own the entire Kevin Smith run of Green Arrow, of course. A couple hardbound books of Batman and some Daredevil stuff, but that's the extent of my actual comic knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not what you call a huge comic book nerd. The only comic books I have the first 4 hardback copies of The Walking Dead, and I have every issue from the 80th.
Yeah.
But that's just because I love The Walking Dead. But I know most of the history because it's easy now with the technology that's there on laptops, tablets, and on smartphones to actually download comics to them.
Yeah.
So, you can catch up on comics now in a week or two.
Yeah. Do you want to go through these 10 movies coming out?
Yeah, I guess we will. We go through. Just before we go through the 10 movies, there's a question I want to ask you. Iron Man 3, by what you've seen in the hype you heard around it, do you think it can be as good as Iron Man 1, or do you think it'll be as forgettable as Iron Man 2?
With the villain that they got in it, Ben Kingsley, I'm hoping it's one memorable.
Yeah.
Problem I had with the other one, it was just, I can't even remember, what was it, Electro?
Yeah, Mickey Rourke.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of,
Yeah, but as I said about that movie, one of the things that's pissed me off, it's like, oh yeah, there's a villain over there, but don't worry about that because we have to have a 10-minute talking scene with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing about it is that it was leaked that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in the Avengers, and at the end of Iron Man 2, he's like, oh yeah, you're not stable enough to be part of the Shield. I'm like, what the fuck? You just built this shit up for the last 2.5 hours, and you're going to turn around and say, oh yeah, you're not part of the Shield. It's like, dude, we fucking know Iron Man is going to be in the fucking Avengers.
I believe in the Shield.
We all believe in the Shield. So do you want to go through these 10 movies?
Yep. Let's see. Iron Man 3. The Wolverine is next. Like I said, out in July. I can't guarantee these dates because I've already seen. This may be a UK release dates. The Wolverine, July 26th. Thor on Halloween. Captain America at the first of the year. No, in April of next year. Excuse me. The dates are backwards on me, so.
Are we forgetting Superman?
I'm going Marvel here.
Oh.
Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, excuse me.
Yeah, when is that out?
May 2nd, 2014. I have to read these dates backwards. I'm going to send you the photo to upload so it can be our fact drop at this point, but all the dates to me are backwards because instead of in the U.S. where it's like April 25th is 4/25/2013, these are 25/4/2013. So, to be honest, The Amazing Spider-Man 1 was not impressed.
I think what hurt The Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I'm just making presumptions here, is that The Dark Knight Rises was so close.
Yeah, well,
nobody really gave a shit about the Spider-Man movie.
I mean, I went, and it just seemed like a retelling of the Tobey Maguire stuff. I mean, I think we all know the origins of Spider-Man now.
Yeah, I don't think you needed to show that. I think you could have jumped straight. Like, I know I said that about X-Men, that you just jumped straight in. But I think the origin of Spider-Man has been done so much times that I think Spider-Man, you could have jumped straight in with.
Well, see, Disney XD right now has Ultimate Spider-Man. And literally it starts, He's already got his powers. You know, he's been Spider-Man all summer long. He just, you know, they do a quick retelling. He was at the lab, got bit by a spider, boom, 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 and they're off and going in a two-minute little thing, and it's Spider-Man. I mean, I don't need to see a training montage of Peter Parker making the web shooters, you know, and being able to tow an airplane with his web.
Yeah, and how much time do we have to see Uncle Ben die?
Yeah. So I thought they were going to swerve this time, and Uncle Ben was going to live.
Yeah. Especially when you get Martin Sheen to play him.
Yeah. X-Men, Days of Future Past.
I think we already discussed that in depth.
Guardians of the Galaxy, starring Batista. I do not know this comic franchise.
Neither do I.
So I'll go into it, be pleasantly surprised. I'm going to skip the next one because I want to save it for last. Avengers 2, May 1st, 2015. And Ant-Man, which I don't know a whole lot about Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's going to be the start. For anyone that doesn't know, we're now in stage 2 of the Avengers. Ant-Man is going to be the start of stage 3. Apparently there's 5 stages, as far as I know. So I think it's going to go all the way to 2024. Which...
Well, I did skip one. They are rebooting Fantastic Four.
Awful.
It comes out March 6, 2015.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch my language on the shoot the shit, because if, for my money, people make fun of Steel and the Phantom and Batman and Robin for being some of the worst comic book movies of all time. For my money, the 2 Fantastic Fours are. They're absolute rubbish. They're boring to watch. They're absolutely boring to watch. You can say what you want about Batman and Robin. I know a lot of people are going to think I got insane here. At least it's funny to sit through. At least you laugh at the things.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is boring.
And of course, we don't have anybody listed as directing or starring in this, but I'm looking at IMDb's got a thing, cast ideas for the new Fantastic Four film. Reed Richards, Luke Evans, Stu Storm, Olivia Wilde, Johnny Storm, Liam McIntyre, Ben Grimm, The Thing, John Cena.
I know now I'm going to get flack off the wrestling fans after getting flack off comic book fans, but John Cena kind of fits the thing.
Yeah, he kind of does. It's not like we're saying CM Punk needs to play the Hulk. You know,
Yeah.
Victor Von Doom, according to this person, should be Derek Mears. So.
Yeah. No, just to go back on that point, you look at John Cena's promos, he's big, he's awkward, and he screams a lot.
What's wrong with Cena playing the Thing? He's got the right sort of voice, he has the right build, and looks like someone who's got a military veteran.
And he has a stick up his arse. Something there that wasn't brought up because it's not really a comic book movie, but a movie I am very excited about is Star Trek Into the Darkness.
Oh, I gotta read this one. Victor Von Doom should be played by Christopher Walken. Matter of fact, everyone should be played by Christopher Walken in this movie.
What about Victor Von Doom played by Hulk Hogan and John Cena playing the Thing?
You'd have to have Cena as Reed Richards. How about CM Punk for Victor Von Doom?
Yeah, that actually kind of
If
be
we're going to
awesome.
cast a wrestler, let's put a comic book geek in the place.
Yeah. You know, that is...
Liam Hemsworth is Johnny Storm. Now let's think about this. You could get Victor Von Doom, CM Punk. The Thing, John Cena. Johnny Storm, that's Zack Ryder. I mean, I just don't know who to put as Reed Richards.
Randy Orton?
I was thinking Michael Cole.
Excuse me?
Yeah, we could put Vicky as Sue Storm.
May I have your attention, please? The Fantastic Four have arrived.
Anybody that's bitching at this point about this show, we did ask people to tweet us some ideas to talk about, and we didn't get any, so this is your fault, not ours.
Yeah. Damn you all.
Yeah.
You're quick enough to fucking make fun of any pictures we put up.
Yeah.
No, but just to go back into Star Trek Into the Darkness, I've actually seen very little of this movie because I made sure I did. I only saw one trailer, and the only reason I saw that is because it was in the cinema when I went to see a movie a month ago. God, this looks awesome.
Yeah, the only issue I have with the trailer I have seen is for the video game. And it keeps looking like people are falling and they're grabbing them. If you've seen the trailer for the video game that's coming out. It's just like, catch him, catch him, catch him. And it's like, are we playing reverse Angry Birds and we have to catch the birds in the slingshot?
Couldn't that just be a level?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's several different clips of the video.
Do you think they're playing it? Do you think in this day and age of internet, Twitter, Facebook, that it's unbelievable that we're getting to nearly a week, 2 weeks before Star Trek actually gets released, and we still don't know who the villain is? They've kept it such under wraps. Like, we know who's playing him, but we don't know what villain he's playing.
Yeah.
Do you think that's unbelievable in this day and age?
It won't last long. But the thing I'm interested in is the poster has the Enterprise crashing. So I wonder if we're going to get a new Enterprise for the third movie.
You go back to the first Star Trek of this generation.
Benedict Cumberbatch is playing
Sherlock.
Khan. He's playing Khan.
No, that's just rumored. Nobody, because the trailer's very cute in saying that, is that they never say who the villain is. It's rumored that he's playing Khan, but it's not confirmed.
But a lot of the secondary villains in this thing are Russian.
It could be a new guy.
That's true.
It could be an absolute new guy. Or we could going back to the old Star Trek Genesis storyline. That it is actually Kirk.
Yeah. Pretty kind of cool.
No, Benedict Cumberbatch, he's a fantastic actor. He's unbelievable as Sherlock, so I have great hope in him. And the first Star Trek is probably one of the most shocked I was ever at a cinema. Because I remember going to see that Star Trek and I was like, oh yeah, here we go, another Star Trek snorefest. J.J. Abrams, like him or hate him, blew that franchise up. He really did. He made that into a good movie.
I kind of like James Abrams.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. I don't know why. Personally, I think J.J. Abrams has done a lot of good movies. And I think he's a very talented director. And I'm actually one of the few people that are delighted to hear that he will be directing Star Wars 7.
See, this quote from the trailer kind of makes me think it is Khan. Like he's come back from the other dimension like Spock did. You think your world is safe? It is an illusion, a comforting lie told to protect you. Enjoy these final moments of peace, for I have returned to have my vengeance. So shall we begin? That's what makes me think it is Khan, dude.
It probably is Khan, but what I'm saying is that it's not definitely confirmed it's Khan.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for the day of the internet, Twitter and all that, for someone not to come out and have a leak that, listen, this is definitely Khan. And like, let's not forget it, J.J. Abrams is a master of things like this. He would put them into the trailer, making people think it's Khan, and you go into the film and it's not fucking Khan.
Yeah.
If it is Khan, does Spock have to die?
Are we just remaking the whole original movies over again?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that they're not remaking the whole movies. I'm just saying that it's such an iconic moment that when they fight with Khan, Khan kills Spock. That's an iconic moment in the Star Trek history.
Yeah, but there have been 3 years between Kirk and Spock being best friends on the show and everything. So it was a big thing to lose that Spock. The Spock and Kirk from the remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, is, they're not the best of friends, so.
Yeah, but obviously we're going to have a time gap.
Uh,
I doubt the film's going to start until we're going to be singing in the wilderness, aka Star Trek 5. But I say there would be better acquaintances.
Well, this is in from one of the Australian critics. It's a riveting action-adventure in space, complete with interpersonal relationships. The bromance between Kirk and Spock is in full force here.
Yeah.
Grown men cry, and yes, it looks like a J.J. Abrams film. There's the lens flare and the camera tracking a crushing spaceship. Might as well be a bigger version of the plane from the Lost pilot. Smoke billows, and it all feels very real, like you could reach out and touch it.
Yeah, if I had to pick a movie for this year that I'm excited the most about, I know 9 out of 10 people will get to Man of Steel. We will get to that in a couple of minutes, but I picked this. With the cast that's there, with the director that's there, and with how good the first one was, I think this could end up being movie this summer.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised this is not coming out in July or August, because I think this could be a massive hit. But this seems to be happening a lot of where big blockbusters are coming out now in April or May because they want to get such a huge number. Like you look at the Avengers came out in May in 2012. But then then in the end of August, they re-released it to get even more money for the summer take.
Yeah. I don't know, I think this summer movie is going to be a horror time frame.
What's your pick for movie this summer?
I don't know. I saw a trailer last night, since we're just shooting the shit about movies, called The Purge. Have you heard anything about this?
No.
It's basically one night a year, like the American utopia is a utopia now. Unemployment's at 1%, everyone's wealthy, there's zero crime rate, because once a year, all crime is legal. And the trailer is really, really, it looks epic.
I actually have to say, that does sound awesome.
Yeah, but it centers around this one family where, the mom and dad don't want to go out killing anybody this year. They want to stay home and have a quiet night. And the daughter lets somebody into the house that's being chased. And it's kind of like The Strangers, where, there's a group of people trying to get in the house and kill everyone. They're like, you have 1 hour to give us this guy, or we'll come in and get him, and we'll kill you while we're at it, because he's our target for this time period. It looks incredible. You need to look up the trailer.
I actually must, because that does sound awesome, in fairness.
This summer we have Fast and the Furious 6 coming out.
Yeah, I did not like Fast 5. And I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. I actually piss a lot of my friends off by saying that, but I just didn't like Fast 5.
The Hangover Part 3 comes up. I'm just going for the end of May. I thought that May 24th was the last Friday in May. But you have Fast 6, and The Hangover Part 3.
Yeah, did you see the trailer yet for The Hangover 3?
Yes.
Opinions?
And the movie is called The Purge, by the way. I'm looking at it. It comes out June 7th. It'll be the first of the summer movies.
No, because the summer thing now starts in May.
Oh, is it started in May now?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said that earlier, that a lot of Hollywood studios are bringing a lot of big movies out in May now because you can re-release them at the end of August to get even more money.
Well, that's why Iron Man 3, I guess, is our first launch. It's May 3rd here in the States.
See, that's why it's released this week in Europe, because we don't really count for the summer intake. But in America, the summer, what's going to end up having the most money in the summer is always a big deal.
See, the summer to me doesn't begin until after Memorial Day. So, The Great Gatsby, May 10th. I have no desire to go. I'm only reading the bold names on this. There's a bunch of movies coming out. Star Trek Into Darkness, May 17th.
Cannot wait.
Fast and Furious 6 and The Hangover Part 3, we talked about it.
No, we never got your opinion what you thought of the trailer.
Oh, The Hangover Part 3. I'm not a huge fan of the Hangover movies. I've seen them, the first two, a couple times.
Yeah, I think the first one is enjoyable, but I won't go as far as say it's a comedy gem.
Yeah, I think the second one's better, to be honest. I like the whole Thailand.
You like it because it's darker and
Yeah, I
strangely.
guess. But I hated seeing, what's his name's penis on screen getting flicked around like a little bean. Like, what the hell is that? I don't know. I'll probably see The Hangover 3 when it goes to DVD, as I've seen the other two. I'm not a theater guy, so.
Yeah, I might go see it if I'm out with a few mates and we get a few drinks, because that's not a movie you want to kind of go into sober. That's a laugh movie after a few drinks. Or for Roy Sambrano when you're high.
Yeah, somebody is, for those that don't know, anything that's posted on our Facebook page, International Podcast, it automatically links to my Twitter. So when the cops come to my house to arrest me for marijuana, I'm going to point them towards Roy Zambrano, because that shit's not funny. After Earth, May 31st. You heard anything on this?
No.
Okay. And something called Now You See Me. Those are the two big openings that weekend for that.
Yeah, I heard something about Now You See Me, but...
Well, After Earth is an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, for fuck's sake. How is this guy still making movies?
With Jaden and Will Smith. So,
I did see this. I did see the trailer for this. Is where Will Smith gets last on a fucking distant planet.
Yeah.
I did see the trailer for this, and I have only one opinion, is that this is going to be fucking terrible.
Yeah. Well, I have a theory on Will Smith movies. If you ever see a Will Smith movie and it's not opening on a holiday weekend,
yeah,
it's gonna suck.
Yeah, my opinion about Will Smith is that Will Smith has made some bad movies, but for some reason, everyone loves Will Smith, and all of his movies get a buy. It's like if anyone else made Hancock. If anyone else made that, it would have been panned. But Will Smith made it, so it gets a buy. Men in Black 3 was shit. Will Smith made it, he gets a buy.
I don't know, I kind of liked it better than the second one. Now You See Me is, the FBI faces a case of an illusionist gang that robs banks while performing.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That looks like an awesome movie.
Yeah, and while performing, they give money to the spectators. Story follows a crack FBI squad in a game of cat and mouse against a super team of the world's greatest illusionists who pull off a series of daring bank heists during their performances.
Yeah, it's been with Morgan.
Yeah, it's got Morgan Freeman in it, and Woody Harrelson.
Any movie that has Morgan Freeman, it's going to get a watch.
The Purge, like I said, comes out June 7th. It's just by the trailer. It came on during Duck Dynasty last night. It's got Ethan Hawke.
The premise sounds brilliant.
Yeah. A thriller that follows one family over the course of a single night. 4 people will be tested to see how far they will go to protect themselves when the vicious outside world breaks into their home. In an America racked by crime and overcrowded prison, the government has sanctioned an annual 12-hour period in which any and all criminal activity, including murder, becomes legal. The police can't be called, hospitals suspend help. It's one night when the citizenry regulates itself without thought of punishment. On this night, plagued by violence and epidemic of crime, one family wrestles with the decision of who they will become when a stranger comes knocking. When an intruder breaks into Ethan Hawke's gated community during the yearly lockdown, he begins a sequence of events that threaten to tear a family apart. Now it's up to James, his wife Mary, and their kids to make it through the night without turning into the monsters from whom they hide. The trailer looks badass. I'm just really scared it's going to be like The Strangers, and the best parts of the movie are in the trailer.
Yeah, wasn't The Strangers based on a true story, though?
I don't know.
I think that... I don't think it was fact for fact, but I think that was inspired by real events.
Wednesday, June 12th, This Is the End. Releases, apparently they didn't want to open the same day as Superman, which opens that Friday.
Yeah, This Is the End.
Seth Rogen's new movie.
Yeah, that's the one where the comedians play themselves at the end of the world. The only reason I want to see this movie is the bit in the trailer where Emma Watson, aka Hermione, comes in with an axe and tells everyone to give their fucking food to her and starts effing and blinding. That actually sounds awesome.
Follow 6 friends trapped in a house after a series of strange and catastrophic events devastate Los Angeles. As the world unravels outside, dwindling supplies and cabin fever threaten to tear apart the friendship inside. Eventually, they are forced to leave the house, facing their fate and true meaning of friendship and redemption. Seth Rogen is going to play himself, so
Yeah, that's
and
insane.
Jonah Hill, so you're going to have a lot of weed jokes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like entertainment versions of themselves.
Man of Steel, June 14th.
Yeah, let's get on to Man of Steel now, since you bring it up now.
Just want to ride that big cock.
What do you think of it?
I've seen the retelling of Superman over and over again. So.
Yeah, but we've seen the retelling of Batman over and over again. But the Nolans, for some reason, made it epic with Batman
Begins. Yeah, but this was a completely different way of retelling it. So, Zack Snyder, does real good. So, I don't know. Superman and General Zod, you can't really go wrong. So, I'll go see it. I probably won't see it in theaters, so I'll probably take it like I normally do.
But a lot of people are saying that this is going to go down the road of the Dark Knight. Now, the question I got to ask is that Batman, it's easy to make into a dark and broody character because when Batman was first written, that's how he was written. Superman was always cheerful. It was always the American dream. His colours are red, white, blue. It was always fight for justice, fight the good fight. Can you really turn that into dark and broody?
It was red, blue, and yellow.
You know what I mean? It's red and white. I mean, it's red and blue.
I don't know.
Can you...
I'm going to hold off opinion on it because I haven't even seen a full trailer. I stopped looking at the trailers during the teasers. So, I don't know. I'll definitely see it. It's Superman, so.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, there's a lot of pressure on it because, as you said, it is Superman, and you have Jonathan and Chris Nolan coming off the massive high that was the Dark Knight trilogy. So there's a lot of pressure on this movie. Will it live up to it? It's tough to say because the trailers kind of look 50-50. The first, I don't really want to see fucking half of the movie about him, how he finds himself. I really don't. Because as good as Batman Begins did that, it was only the first half an hour of the film.
You got World War Z coming out. I'm going to skip. I love the book.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brad Pitt zombie movie. Nope.
Yeah. Well, they're not zombies. They're genetically changed people that run really fucking fast.
Yeah.
And zombies don't run.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. Friday, June 28th, the remake of Die Hard in the White House.
What?
It's a movie called White House Down. Listen to this storyline and tell me this doesn't scream Die Hard. Capitol Policeman John Cale, starred as Channing Tatum, has just been denied his dream job with the Secret Service of protecting President James Sawyer, played by Jamie Foxx.
Doesn't that just sound like Sawyer from Lost?
Not wanting to let his little girl down with the news, he takes her on a tour of the White House. When the complex is overtaken by a heavily armed paramilitary group, now the nation's government falling into chaos and time is running out. It's up to Cale to save the president, his daughter, and the country. Does that not sound like a fucking Die Hard plot?
It sounds like a Die Hard plot.
But it's got Channing Tatum, so stakes also be there beating off in the theaters again.
Yeah,
Maggie Gyllenhaal. Oh, did I say his name? I'm sorry. Along with Maggie Gyllenhaal. So.
Yeah, poor Maggie Gyllenhaal. Rachel!
July 4th weekend, we get Lone Ranger, Careless.
Yeah, when I was in New York, that shit was everywhere. The Lone Ranger. I mean, it was fucking everywhere. I never even heard of the movie.
July 5th, The Way, Way Back. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't think we have
July,
been...
July 12th, Grown Ups 2, Could Care Less. Pacific
Isn't that the one with Austin in it?
What?
Grown Ups 2.
Could be. I'll look. Pacific Rim comes out that same day, so I don't know. July 17th, Turbo.
Yeah, July sounds pretty sucky at the moment.
July 19th, Girl, Most Likely. I have no idea what that is. R.I.P.D.
I heard about that, but I didn't see the trailer. I heard it's supposed to be about a futuristic, is it? Something like that.
Rhode Island Police Department. That's what I'm reading into it.
All I saw was a fellow with a big ass gun. I just saw a picture of it.
Well, it just says R.I.P.D. Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, good.
Two cops.
You know, now there is someone that's seen the trailer and is probably like, you guys don't know what you're fucking talking about. This thing is epic.
Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds headline R.I.P.D. as two cops dispatched by the otherworldly Rest in Peace Department to protect and serve the living from the increasingly destructive array of souls who refuse to move peacefully to the other side.
Oh, it's a Ghostbusters remix.
Yeah, pretty much. It's Men in Black remix with Ghostbusters. Veteran Sheriff Roy Pulsar Bridges has spent his career with the legendary police force known as R.I.P.D., tracking monster spirits who are cleverly disguised as ordinary people. His mission to arrest and bring to justice a special brand of criminals trying to escape final judgment by hiding among the unsuspecting on Earth.
You know, since we brought up earlier with Will Smith, I actually have to say, I would love to see a Men in Black done right, like the comic books. Because the comic books look fucking epic, but they made it into a family movie. I love to see an R-rated Men in Black, where they actually do what they do in the comic books, which is just to tip people off. If you see an alien, you don't get your mind zapped, you get your head blown off.
That Turbo movie I was brought up a while ago.
Yeah.
It is DreamWorks movie this year. It is a cartoon movie about racing snails. Voiced by Ryan Reynolds again. So this could be his summer. I'm not reading the plot about snails that race. If you want to know, go look it up yourself.
Yeah.
Taylor Lautner is going to be the headline of the cast of Grown Ups 2. He's got top billing over Adam Sandler and Kevin James.
Okay. Has Kevin James done anything good since The King of Queens?
I like Paul Blart. I liked Here Come the Boom.
I didn't see Here Come the Boom. I was going to watch it on the plane, but I ended up watching something else.
That Pacific Rim I brought up, it looks like it's going to be one of those weird battleship style movies. So in
other words, it's going to be terrible or it's going to be epic.
Yeah, it's directed by Del Toro, so I mean, it just looks like it's robots versus something.
So in other words, geeks are losing their fucking mind over this.
Yeah, something called a giant kaiju, Kaiju.
A giant Jew.
Yeah, it's a giant, massive robot, and it fights something called a Jaeger, which is another giant, massive robot. So I guess it's Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie.
Probably.
And the way back, that was a Steve Carell movie coming out. So. It's a coming-of-age story.
I don't like Steve Carell. Never have, never will. I don't know what it is about him. I just do not like him as an actor.
Yeah. Apparently, the July 19th weekend's the big weekend of July because they have 4, quote, blockbusters coming out that week. But they're all right before the Wolverine the following week. And followed by the Smurfs 2.
Wait, hold on. The Smurfs got a remake after how much it got panned.
No, they got a sequel.
They got a sequel, sorry. After how much it got panned?
Yep. Friday, August 2nd, 300 Part 2, Rise of an Empire. August 7th, Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. August 9th, Disney's Planes, which is Cars Part 3. Kick-Ass 2, August 16th.
Yes! Let's talk about Kick-Ass 2, because I really cannot wait for Kick-Ass 2.
I hope it's better than the first one.
Fuck you! Kick-Ass 1 is awesome.
That is a generation gap between us, my friend. That movie had no appeal to me whatsoever.
I thought it was fucking awesome.
It's like Scott Pilgrim versus the World too, and that's your generation stuff. So.
Kick-Ass to me is awesome. I can't wait for Kick-Ass 2, especially when looking at the role Jim Carrey's going to play. Hopefully he doesn't play too over the top, because then it can hurt it, because I think Jim Carrey is better when he plays it kind of straight. I think Jim Carrey is perfect when he plays it kind of straight. When he goes too over the top, then Jim Carrey's not funny to me. Like, what I can go back with is Liar Liar. I love when Jim Carrey plays it straight in Liar Liar. When he starts going way over the top, like the pen scene. The pen scene to me, as much as people love it, I'm not a big fan of the pen scene. I love it when he's playing it straight and he's actually trying to be truthful for his son, and I just think that's when Jim Carrey's at his best. When he plays it too over the top, not for me.
And finally, the last summer blockbuster of the year. It just got moved up from October to August. Director Edgar Wright. Simon
This is it. This is it.
The End, or World's End. I am looking forward to this so much.
It's actually getting a July release over here.
Yeah, it's the final trilogy of Edgar's comedies. So
yeah, it's going to be the final of the Cornetto Bloody trilogy.
Yeah. So
for anyone that doesn't know, that's Shaun of the Dead Hot Fuzz in this.
Yeah. 20 years after attempting an epic pub crawl, 5 childhood friends reunite when one of them becomes hell-bent on trying the marathon again. They are convinced to stage an encore by mate Gary King, a 40-year-old man trapped at the cigarette end of his teens, who drags his reluctant pals to their hometown and once again attempts to reach the fabled pub, the World's End. As they attempt to reconcile the past and the present, they realize the real struggle is for the future, not just theirs, but humankind's. Reaching the world's end is the least of their worries.
Yeah, you know what I love about this movie? I don't know what's about. Like, I know you read the synopsis there, but is it an apocalypse? Is it just a metaphor? Is something actually big happening? I actually don't know. Like, this movie's coming out in July over here, and we haven't even got a teaser trailer yet.
Yeah.
They are playing this very close to the chest, like they did with Hot Fuzz. Like, as I always say, love or hate Hot Fuzz, you do not see that ending happening.
Yeah.
You know, that is just such an unbelievable ending. And the reasons they give for why they're acting that way is probably, to me, some of the funniest moments in cinema.
See, I love Shaun of the Dead. I've seen that movie, God, probably 20 times, 30 times. I own it on DVD and Blu-ray. But Hot Fuzz I've seen, 2 or 3 times, and it's funny. But to me, I didn't know it was a trilogy of comedies or whatever. But to me, it just seemed like the British version of Super Troopers.
Yeah, a lot of Americans I know say that, but I think Hot Fuzz does so well, and it appeals to people over here, is that it has a lot of British cop show humour. Like, the thing about what makes it so funny for me, the reveal, is that in British cop shows, it is just, and the way Simon Pegg plays his characters, Nicholas Angel, he plays it like a cop would in a British cop show, is that it's always this over-the-top, big-time explanation that kind of makes no sense, and that's the way he's going with it. Here's the thing about your man that owns the store, it's a big, big reveal. It makes no sense, it's so over-the-top. But then Hot Fuzz completely flips the script and says, oh no, the reason we killed them is over her laugh. The reason we killed him was over his house. And the reason we killed your one in the flower shop is because she was moving. It was like, dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of Super Troopers, it broke, I think, last week. They are in development making Super Troopers 2. The the storyline so far, what they've released, is the troopers are sent to the U.S.-Canadian border, where an adjustment to the border markers leaves Canadians on U.S. soil. So that's the plot so far. So they're still scripting and casting.
Yeah, do you want to know something criminal? I never seen Super Troopers.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious, and it is one of those movies. The more you watch it, the funnier and funnier it gets.
Yeah, that's what I say about Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is a perfect example of that to me. Like, as much as I like Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, you could watch it today and laugh at certain parts, and tomorrow you could watch it and laugh at different parts.
Yeah.
And plus, too, you really have to know a lot about Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, because there's a space joke in there which is fucking hilarious. Which, unless you know what space is, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. I love Super Troopers. Club Dread, to me, I've seen it once while it was in theaters. I never wanted to go back and rewatch it. It didn't appeal to me. Beer Fest, great movie to watch when you're stoned or drunk.
Yeah. You know what I love about that movie?
I've tried it sober. It's funny, but it works so much better when you're not right in the head.
What's so good about Beer Fest is, what I find so good about it, is that there's no 3-act structure. There's no liar reveal. There's no kind of, down in the dumps. It's like, okay, your man dies, but straight away someone else comes in and takes his place.
Yeah.
It's like they completely flip it, because when your man dies, you think, they're going to go over and take the challenge on themselves. It's like, no, here's your man back again. It's like, okay, that's fucking awesome.
Then call me by the same name.
Yeah. And then he goes and he fucks your man's wife.
Yeah. I've never seen the Slammin' Salmon.
Actually, since we bring up Beer Fest, your man that dies.
Yeah.
When his cousin is fucking his wife, when you see a picture of your man that dies, it kind of reminds me of you.
Yes, I've had that. He plays a character called Farva in Super Troopers, and I can't believe I'm putting this on air. But a while back, somebody pointed it out and took a photo of me and put it next to it. There is a very, very striking similarity between me and that actor. So I don't want to.
We are too lazy to check his name off.
Well, I mean, I have it right up here, but I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
No, too lazy.
Officer Rod Farva.
Officer Rod.
Yeah. Car Ramrod.
Okay, that's pretty much it for our summer blockbuster. I use quotation marks here. Preview. Let's get into some other stuff here and shoot the shit. And something that's really starting to piss me off is, I know we brought up about the Boston bombings before. You know my opinions on, Brian's. But what's really starting to piss me off is that this conspiracy theory about it, Brian, is really, and I mean really, growing momentum.
Kevin Heffernan is that guy's name. Yeah, they released today that the guy that he admitted to having part of the bombing, the suspect they have in custody or whatever it is, they didn't read him his rights, so his admission is not admissible.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that a lot of people, I think his name is Alex Jones, he has a show on the internet, he brought up that this was all a hoax, and it is really gaining momentum. Like, the video he has got nearly 3 million views on YouTube, and a lot of people are coming with some weird arguments saying that this was all staged. Are we really going to go down the line? Are we going?
I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, because that shit pisses me off. So.
Yeah, are we really going to go down the 9/11 route here, where everyone is just going to be like, oh yeah, that was all conspiracy? It's like, why would anyone conspiracy to do that? It makes no sense.
See, what I find weird, we had a natural gas tankers barges in Mobile, Alabama yesterday explode, and it hurt a bunch of people, and it was like 9 or 10 explosions in Mobile. and it's not even getting national news coverage. It's ships exploding in the harbor, and it's not even being talked about.
So look what happened in Texas.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the coverage is like over there, but over here, I barely even heard about that. And that was a lot worse than the bombings.
Yeah.
As I always say, and I know a lot of people are going to condemn me over this, the Boston PD are getting a lot of praise and accolades. I'm sorry, but if it takes you 22 hours to find one suspect when you have the whole town on lockdown, you're not doing a lot right.
Well, see, the big fear was the guy had a detonator and had bombs planted.
Shoot him in the fucking head.
Well, what if it's one of those pressure-sensitive detonators? You can't ever tell.
I just think that it's weird that it took 22 hours to find this kid. And the police didn't even find him. It was the man that owned the fucking boat found him.
Yeah, and ironically, the guy has a broken jaw and can't talk, so...
Well, they shot him in the throat. Well, in my opinion, they shot to kill.
Yeah.
I'm
still am surprised the guy is alive.
Can he face the death penalty?
Normally the first thing you do in a conspiracy is kill all the people involved. So you tie up your loose ends.
Yeah. So that's a big question I got asked for people over on this side of the Atlantic that doesn't know the Massachusetts laws. Can he face the death penalty here?
I don't know. He'll go to Supermax in Chicago, I'm sure.
This guy should just be, if he's kept alive, should be just locked in a room and just give him the barest amount of food every day.
Well, he is a Muslim. Let's just feed him some bacon every day.
You know, that's it. Just give him the barest amount of food and lock him into a room with no windows. Well, of course, then you have people crying out saying that's inhumane.
I'm trying to bring up Massachusetts death penalty. And there's 35 states that have the death penalty. 15 that don't. Normally, your Democratic states don't. Massachusetts does not have the death penalty, not since 1947.
You know, there's a lot of things that you could make arguments about the death penalty, but I think anyone that does acts like this, in any part of the world, not just America, should face the death penalty.
In the history of Massachusetts, there have only been 345 executions. And that includes the 26 convicted of witchcraft. So.
Fuck you, say them.
Yeah.
What about Ron Zombie's new movie? Did you see that yet?
No. I'm still trying to find the stuff on the Strangers. If it was real or not.
You just go into the Wikipedia and it'll be obviously there if it's based on true facts.
I stay off Wikipedia.
Why?
Because you can't trust half of what's on Wikipedia. I'm still listed as a mayor of my hometown that I hacked it 8 years ago.
Well done, Brian. Question, let's go into something more in depth. You can give people a lot in depth about this because I wouldn't know too much about it. The National Football League draft is tonight, isn't it? From Radio City Hall in New York.
I think so.
Yeah. Who would you like the Browns to get?
A new coach.
A new team?
Yeah. Yeah, that really pissed me off last night. I'm not even going to lie. So.
Yeah, but the schedule was released again, and God, they're doing you no favors, are they?
The problem with the Browns doing draft picks is they always get like because they suck. They always trade away several first round and second round draft picks for 4 or 5 fourth and fifth round picks. So you get more people, but you don't get the top quality. You get the cheaper players and you get more of them. But we need that one big name. And I guarantee you Cleveland will take a quarterback. And the draft this year. They have Colt McCoy sitting on the bench. I forget what the 35-year-old that they drafted last year was. But they need to stick with one quarterback in Cleveland and let him get some play time.
Do you think that could help them a lot if they get a first pick quarterback?
I mean, it can't hurt. Right now, we need people that can catch the ball too. I mean, we don't have a lot of wide receivers or, tight ends that can play anymore. So.
Like, I know a lot from following football, so like I obviously don't know that side too well. Like, I like watching American football. I watch it most times it's on TV, and I love getting into the Super Bowl atmosphere. But for someone like you that actually supports a team like the Cleveland Browns, it's a hurtful to see Super Bowl come and go every year, or even the playoffs, and never be involved in them.
Yeah, we got in the playoffs one year, but to be honest, the thing that pisses me off most as a Browns fan is we don't get that one primetime game every season. Monday Night Football, we have not had a Monday Night Football game in 4 years. But you get teams like Dallas and the Patriots that get 2 to 3 to 4 Monday Night Football primetime games. You could build a bigger fan base if people could see it.
Yeah, but then isn't that like the case over here? Because like the big games and the big teams are always going to get on TV. Like over here, like if Wigan are playing Manchester United, that will get on TV because it's a big team. But then if you're at Southampton playing Aston Villa, that's not going to see TV time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got rid of the NFL package on my DirecTV because I got it for free for the first year. I had the satellite. And I watched all the Browns games. I loved it. But we don't get Browns games where I live. But I'm not going to pay $115 a year to see the Cleveland Browns play football. I think it should be equal play time for everybody. So, I mean, I will get one Thursday night NFL Network game. I think we played the Buffalo Bills or somebody on a Thursday night game. That's it. The rest are all the first game on Sunday when there's like 5 other games on. So our market down here doesn't get it. We get Saints games or Atlanta Falcons games. That's
something I was about to ask you. Why don't you support the Saints?
When I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, they shut down a Ford plant in Cleveland. And they moved, a majority of the workers were either retire, quit, or move to Memphis. Well, when all these influx of Cleveland people came, they turned off the St. Louis Rams. I think it was the Rams at the time. Maybe in the Cardinals where they moved. And they switched it over to Cleveland Browns games. So I grew up for like the first 9-10 years. The Browns were the team that was on my television. So I started watching Browns games. And now I live in Mississippi, 8 miles from Louisiana. And, everybody's a damn Saints fan, including my wife. So.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'd say. That must be very hard for someone like you, or not just you, for people that support other NFL teams to see the Super Bowl come and go every year. Like, when was the last time the Browns made the Super Bowl?
The Browns have never won the Super Bowl.
No, but made the final at least.
I don't know. We won 5 NFL championships before they created the Super Bowl. But they've never been in my lifetime. I don't even know if the Browns have been to the Super Bowl. You could kind of make the argument that when the Browns didn't exist and became the Baltimore Ravens, that was our team. So.
Do you think there was a kind of a case that, especially over this side, money talks a lot, and the best players want to go to the Manchester Uniteds, the Barcelonas, the Real Madrids? But do you think over that side of the world with the NFL draft, the best players want to go to the Patriots, the Giants, the Steelers, the Eagles? Do you think that hurts teams, not just like the Browns, but like the Rams, like the Redskins? Do you think that hurts them a lot, that the big teams with the big attentions, they're going to grab the big players?
Well, kind of, because everyone wants to play for a winner, so... Oh man, it hurts to watch sometimes.
Question: could you pick a Super Bowl winner now, or would you have to wait after tonight?
I mean, the draft doesn't ever affect the Super Bowl pick for me. I'll go on record right now. This will be the year for the San Francisco 49ers. And I know Steak Sauce is screaming at me somewhere right now, but I don't care. I'm picking the 49ers to win it all this year.
Do you think the New England Patriots, do you think their time is up? Not a John Cena post, I'm just asking, obviously.
Yeah, just about, because they've gotten a little older. You know, I don't know how much Tom Brady's got left in him. You know.
Could the same be said about the New York Giants and Eli Manning? Because there was everyone always made fun of Eli Manning. But the big times, the big situations, Eli Manning was always able to step up for the Giants. But this year, the big times, the big situations, especially during games 11, 12, 13 and 14, Manning wasn't there. Manning made a lot of bad throws. And like as I said, there was always a lot of jokes about Eli Manning. But one thing you can never take away, that there was times where Eli Manning dragged the Giants into the playoffs, and he wasn't able to do it this year. Last year.
To answer your question, the Browns have never been to the Super Bowl, by the way. They're one of 4 teams that have never gone. So, the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Detroit Lions are the other 3 teams. It used to be the Saints, but they've gone now, obviously. So.
What do you think the chances are the Browns to be in MetLife Stadium next February?
0.
Always keep the faith, Brian. Always keep the faith.
Well, we get the 6th pick overall. However, there's rumors that Cleveland may trade up to the 3rd pick from the Raiders. So, we'll probably get Anza tonight. That would be my guess. If they do trade up, they'll probably go and get that kid from Ghana that played for BYU last year.
Kofi Kingston?
No. I can't remember it's Anza or something like that. He played for BYU. He's a big fucking dude. He's like 6'5".
What is he, running back? Offensively?
Yeah, Ziggy Anza. He's a defensive end.
Oh, he's Ziggy!
Yeah, Ziggy Anza.
God, you're going to get AJ Lee on your case now.
No.
Who do you think is going to go? Who has the first pick this year?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Who do you think will be the first pick to go?
I don't know.
Well, it's always usually a quarterback, isn't it?
Yeah. See, I don't know if that Johnny Football is the guy that won the Heisman, if he's sticking around or not. I know somebody's screaming at me that I should know better, but...
Alright, that is our NFL draft preview. As I said, I don't know much about it, but hopefully Brian brought you through it. And
no, I didn't. See, I don't do the follow games and stats and crap like that. I just watch football to watch football.
Yeah, you're actually, when we were going through the movies and even the Boston news, you were kind of upbeat and talking free flowing. When I started to bring up the Browns, your mood changed completely. Is that how much your love has died?
I say I'll always root for the Browns, but I know where we're at. So I'm sitting here looking at ESPN.com. They're penciling Eric Fisher to be selected first. Kid from Central Michigan. So, an offensive tackle.
Interesting. He must be a very good player. Since this is a wrestling podcast, I haven't seen Raw. I have no intentions to see Raw, but Brian has seen Raw. So, Brian, do you want to give your quick what you thought of Monday Night Raw this week?
It sucked. End of story. Even the 3-on-3 match wasn't up to par. So.
Yeah, how good was this Dolph Ziggler Chris Jericho match?
I can't tell you. My DVR cracked out in it, so I have yet to see it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people lost their shit over that match, saying it was the best match to take place in London since Shawn Michaels and John Cena back in 2007. And then, of course, other people were going nuts saying, well, the crowd were very disrespectful during that chanting anything. It's like, if I have to explain this to people one more time, in Europe, we chant during shows. If you go to Old Trafford to watch a Manchester United game, they be chanting the players, ex-players, about opposition players all during the game. You're not disrespecting the match that's going on. You're building an atmosphere.
Ole.
Yeah. That's, I just don't know why people can't accept that. Why people always think, like I heard a lot of people turning around saying that during the Randy Orton match and Sheamus in New Jersey, the crowd were disrespecting them.
At least you say New Jersey this time and didn't call it New York.
Yeah, I got a solicitor's letter off Royce Zambrano.
Yeah, he threatened to stab you again, didn't he?
Yeah. This time actually by a lawyer.
Wait, he can't afford to go to WrestleMania down the street, but he can put an attorney on.
Free legal aid. I don't know if you have that over there, so either people got the joke or they didn't.
He got pro bonoed.
Pro bonoed.
Yeah, pro bonoed.
Do you want to give an Impact preview for tonight?
Nope, because I don't know what's going to be on Impact tonight.
Yeah.
If you could entertain the people for a second, I'm still checking Twitter to see if anybody responded to our tweet, which somebody did.
Oh yeah, since we're talking.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nobody covered what's going to happen on Impact on wrestling news sites anymore. So I have no idea what's going to happen on Impact tonight, which will probably make it a great show.
Well, it is live tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't. It's like I'm on lordsofpain.com, and we can kind of switch over to a little bit of wrestling on the Shoot the Shit. And I'm on the news section, only news, and it has news, WWE, TNA. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 17 news stories before it gets to TNA, which Cowhead staffer heckles Hulk Hogan at TNA press conference, and Eric Bischoff confirms new hire. Angle comments on WWE, TNA in Pittsburgh. Abyssive Joseph Park news, and then it goes right back to WWE. So I don't have a clue what's going to happen in TNA, and that kind of makes you want to watch. So.
Yeah, see, a lot of people blame these news sites, but I don't. It's as simple as this. You have to go where the market is going, and if you had your page flooding with TNA news, most people that go onto these sites want WWE news. Right or wrong, I'm not condemning any side of it. I'm just saying that if you're running a news site, you got to talk majority about WWE. That's why we had to do it here on the podcast. That is why people would listen to a show. We will get more views and more people listening if we have a 20-minute discussion about The Rock than if we had a 20-minute discussion about AJ Styles. We probably prefer to talk about AJ Styles, but you have to go with what people want. And unfortunately, people still want The Rock. Let's talk about Michael Bay.
Do we have to?
Yeah, what do you think of the comment he made that The Rock should, and I'm actually quoting here, grow up?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Michael Bay was at the premiere for Pain and Glory, which is The Rock's new movie, and The Rock was unable to attend because he was coming out of surgery. And they asked Michael Bay what they thought of The Rock being in hospital, and Michael Bay turned around and said, well, Dwayne needs to grow up and stop wrestling with 300-pound men. In other words, wrestling is child's play. Michael Bay, you need to stop. Like, if this came from a director with any bit of credibility, I could kind of swallow it. But it's Michael. Pardon?
Like if Michael Scorsese said that?
Yeah. But Michael Bay, one of the most childish directors in Hollywood, who just blows shit up.
Boom, boom, pow, pow. You would think he would like wrestling.
You think so as well?
They have all that pyro. Kurt Angle said issues with WWE are preventing TNA from running events in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Angle said in a media interview while promoting a TNA live event in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Due to some issues with the other company, i.e. WWE, we really couldn't book any venues in Pittsburgh. If it goes well, we'll be back in the next 6 months and do it all over again. It means WWE has locked down every venue in Pittsburgh.
WWE locked down a lot of towns. So WWE have Madison Square Garden locked down. Not saying TNA could go there, but WWE actually has the Garden locked down.
TNA Kurt Angle also appeared on Mark Madden's Pittsburgh radio show this week to promote tonight's live episode of Impact Wrestling. There's some highlights of what Angle said. Why Hogan is battling aces and eights and not him. You know what? I've had talks with creative and yeah, we've been going back and forth. I've been the staple of the company the last 5 years until I would say the last year. I believe they've been trying to use the younger talent. It's a touchy subject. I love Terry, but you're right. It is about bringing up the younger talent, and the way to do it is having them wrestle veterans like me in the main events. Hopefully in the future they'll start doing that more often.
Yeah, I think Angle, as much as people know are going to criticize him over that comment, I think Angle knows it's time he's got to start putting the young kids over. And I think Angle would be willing to do it.
That's why he's been working with Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff.
Yeah.
He's put them over like 3 times now in a match. Granted, they're handicapped 2-on-1 matches, but, you know, where do you go in an angle with Hulk Hogan battling people? Hogan's not going to wrestle anymore.
Unless it's, as we said before, off air, unless it's for one big, massive payday.
Yeah, and he's going to win that match, so it's not going to put anybody over.
As I always say, Hulk Hogan is not done with WWE because Hulk Hogan wants his last match to be at a WrestleMania.
The focus back on TNA after considering another Olympic run, I believe that probably was the beginning of my demise in TNA as far as where they wanted me to go. They were expecting me to try out for the Olympics and go, so they wrote me off. Then they didn't have a lot for me, but I said, hey, it's over. What are we going to do now? And they said, we're going to have plans for you to start writing you back in. So we'll see in the future where I go. So.
Yeah, I think TNA were kind of under the illusion that if Kurt Angle got in, it would be a big, massive publicity thing for them. And it would have been. If Kurt Angle made the Olympics, it would have been a huge publicity thing for TNA. So I think TNA were pissed off that Angle didn't make the Olympics.
Angle finished off talking about retiring and made the comment that if he does retire, he wants to retire at WrestleMania and wants to fight Seth Rollins.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wow. Fuck you, TNA.
That is just probably... I think we'll be seeing Kurt Angle next year in New Orleans, boy.
Yeah.
That is just... Did he really say that?
No, I made that part up. He said he wants to wrestle one more time at WrestleMania, though. So, but the comment below was like, can we please get Kurt Angle versus Seth Rollins?
Or Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I had to sneak that one in there. I'm waiting on Dean Ambrose versus Mick Foley. So.
Okay, let's just play a little game since we're having such a good time.
Can I finish one more little bit of TNA news and then we can finish?
Yeah.
Cowherd head show personality Spanish and a cameraman attended a TNA Impact Wrestling press conference earlier this week at Hulk Hogan's Beach Shop in Tampa. He attempted to ask Hogan some questions before they were escorted out by security. Spanish is now claiming someone at the event assaulted him and is offering an award for the identity of the man. Are we about to have another radio personality get into it with Hulk Hogan? Are we going to get Bubba the Love Sponge Part 2?
Well, see, you know my thing with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is this kind of guy. He's one of the few that if you get an interview with Hulk Hogan, you're given a list of questions of what you could ask. When he does his uncensored thing, he doesn't do a live mic. Hulk Hogan will answer what Hulk Hogan wants to answer. That's why for years all he would go on was Bubba the Love Sponge. Because Bubba would always take it easy on him.
Yeah. And Bubba the Love Sponge what got Hogan into TNA. they did a big campaign drive to get Dixie Carter to bring Hulk and Eric in. So
I doubt that took much persuasion.
And TNA released exclusive footage previewing its one-night-only Joker's Wild event premiering May 3rd, 2013 on pay-per-view and TNA On Demand.
What's Joker's Wild about?
The first round of the special will create some intriguing tag matches for one night only. Old partners will reunite and bitter enemies must work together in order to advance. Once in the final, however, any friendship or forged alliances will quickly disappear as the wrestlers will compete in a winner-takes-all gauntlet battle royal where it's every man for himself and the winner will receive $100,000. Kind of like Battle Bowl.
That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anything that brings up prize money in wrestling is fucking stupid.
Yeah. So it was, it's pretty much Battle Bowl, where they pick random teams, put them together in a tag match, and put them in a battle royal at the end of the night.
And since you're doing fucking money, why not just make it that the winner gets $1 million?
Yeah, why don't you put it in a bag and hang it from the rafters and have a battle royal that ends in a ladder match between the last two guys?
Yeah, let's face it. You get an extra bite from Vince Russo. He'd be just jacking off to it. Oh, fucking pole match.
Language. I didn't say pole. I said hang it from the rafters and let him climb a ladder.
Oh. Well, it has to be a pole to get Vince Russo's bite.
Yeah, that's all I got. Other than the RudoReels.com stuff.
Let's get into some fantasy booking. Just a bit of a game here to end up shoot the shit. Since you brought up that you'd like to see Kurt Angle take on Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, I'm going to name a few TNA stars, and I'd like to know who you'd like to see him face at WrestleMania if they ever jump ship. And number one is Abyss. Not Joseph Park, Abyss.
Ooh. Brodus Clay.
Seriously.
The monster Brodus Clay, not the dancing Brodus Clay.
Austin Aries.
CM Punk.
AJ Styles.
Antonio Cesaro.
Sting.
Undertaker.
That was a kind of an obvious one, wasn't it? Bobby Roode.
Bret Hart in his prime.
If you had to pick today's roster.
Dolph Ziggler.
This would be a tricky one. Mickey James.
Trish Stratus.
Would you not go to Talia?
No, I have no desire to see that. Maybe Beth Phoenix.
Christopher Daniels.
Curry Man.
Aces and Eights. 3 members of them.
The Shield.
Yeah, I was going to guess in that. Do you think Kurt Angle will jump?
Yes. Kurt Angle will be back in WWE by 2015.
Who would you like to see him feud with? I know you're going to say you'd like to see him face Rollins. But who else? Because I'm going to make a bold prediction right now that if Kurt Angle goes back to WWE, his WrestleMania match will be against Jack Swagger.
I want to see John Cena versus Kurt Angle.
We already seen that though, really.
I know, but I want to see the John Cena of now versus the Kurt Angle.
How would you like to see that Angle go down? Would you like to see Angle come back bitter towards John Cena, seeing that he drove him out of the company?
Yeah, that works.
That Kurt Angle. You could, the way I would build that up is that you could say Kurt Angle could come in and say, I was destined to be the next #1 guy.
Yeah.
Something that I was just thinking about the other day, and I know not a lot of people would agree with me here, but this is my own opinion. I think that it is a real shame CM Punk came 5 years too late. And I give you my reasons why. Because back in 2006, the product was still kind of edgy and all that. If CM Punk came in then, I think we wouldn't be in a TV PG era.
I kind of want to see John Morrison get brought back too. Because I think John Morrison versus Christopher Daniels could put on a hell of a match.
Yeah, what is up with Morrison?
Still banging Melina.
Yeah, but he came out publicly and said he never had an issue with WWE. He
just wanted to go do it. He was tired of, hey, we're going to push you for a couple weeks and then do nothing. It's the Kofi Kingston effect. We're going to put a belt on you, let you run for a couple weeks, and then just take you off TV because we have nothing to do. Nothing for you.
But like when I was sitting down there today and I was looking at the roster that WWE has, Brian, isn't it a real shame? Because they have an unbelievable roster, if we're going to be quite honest. And they're just not using it.
Look at The Miz. The Miz is doing jack all right now.
Yeah, but look at, you got The Miz, Antonio Cesaro, Wayne Barrett, the three members of the Shield. Okay, you can make an argument, they're actually doing good things. But you got Kofi Kingston, Cody Rhodes, Damien Sandow. You could go on. You got Chris Hero that's going to be coming up soon enough. He's probably going to end up doing jack all.
Well, apparently around Christmas time at a Mexican show, John Morrison told fans to expect him to return to WWE in about 6 months' time. That was in December. So we're getting close to the 6 month mark.
Yeah, well, let's face it, after John Cena's done with Ryback, who's he going to go in with? Let him go in with John Morrison.
They're saving Rob Van Dam to come back next month. I'm willing to bet. WWE.com is teasing a fourth member of the Shield. It'll probably end up being Rob Van Dam.
No, bad move. I am not personally
bad move, but it's WWE. So
yeah, I am personally not against Rob Van Dam. I think he's a great worker. I love him in the ring. Rob Van Dam can't do heel. He actually can. Rob Van Dam can do a lot of stuff in wrestling. He can't do heel. Did you see the Mick Foley DVD?
Why don't you talk about the Mick Foley DVD? I need a minute.
Yeah.
Talk about fucking Mick Foley.
I saw the Mick Foley DVD the other day, and I have to say, like Mick Foley, or hate him like Brian, it's a good story. It's not really about if you love or hate Mick Foley, it's about the story, and the story of what this guy had to go through to get where he was. It's an unbelievable story. Like, he comes out openly and says he was never the most technically gifted wrestler, which he wasn't. He doesn't portray it to be. It's that he had to bring in the hardcore element and the hard hitting to get over with the fans, because he knew he couldn't go in and have mat classics like Ric Flair. He knew that. And that's what I love so much about this documentary, is that this is a man that loved the business and he was going to succeed no matter what. And we had this conversation before about the CM Punk documentary, is that in 10 years' time, these stories are going to be gone. Not gone completely, but 90% of the roster won't have these stories about how they had to come up through the independent circuits, or how they had to go to Japan to learn their craft, how they had to go to Mexico, how they had to struggle to get where they are today. Like, this
they had to go to Tampa and deal with the police department in Tampa not giving them a DUI.
Yeah, that's good. Like, a WWE documentary in 10 years' time is going to be like this. Well, I was bodybuilding one day, and some fella came in and gave me a card, and next thing I know, I was in a FCW, and, you know, it was a real hard 6 months, but then I got on WWE Raw, and it was another hard 6 months, but then I was on WrestleMania, but, you know, it was a real struggle. That's the future, people.
Yeah, or I was, part of one of the biggest independent wrestling companies in the planet, and, the number 3 wrestling company in the world, and, was in a hell of an angle and decided to come up here and apply my craft, and I sat in Florida for 6 months and did absolutely nothing. That's going to be on the Cassius Ohno DVD.
And I thought you were making a CM Punk joke there.
No, that would be OVW.
Yeah.
So.
What I actually like about the CM Punk DVD, and I know you've seen it as well, is that he's not
mentioned the other day.
Yeah, he's not afraid to admit things that most people wouldn't. Like, I guarantee if that was most people, they would come on to the documentary and say, well, I went to OVW and I loved my time down there and I was really excited about just signing with WWE.
Yeah.
Punk came out and said quite openly, I felt like it was an insult.
Yep. Thank God for Paul Heyman, huh?
Yeah. But like, CM Punk to me is the prime example. And no, I'm not licking CM Punk's ass. I come on the show many times and criticise him about things, but to me he's the prime example of somebody that just worked his ass off and put up with so much shit to actually get where he wanted to go. Like, when I see people nowadays, like, the prime example is Zack Ryder in this. Is that Zack Ryder, he'd rather just bitch and moan than do anything about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of Colt Cabana at this point right now. Colt Cabana to me has gained a lot of respect. He's like, I wasn't happy in WWE, so I left.
Yeah.
I'm back on the independents. I'm not making as much money, but I'm in Japan. I'm in Germany. I'm having a blast.
But there's so much people in WWE now that are just, they rather go on Twitter and Facebook and tout and scream and roar about how this should be spot. It's like, let's go back to 2011. Zack Ryder was hot. Zack Ryder, you can make an argument, was one of the hottest properties in professional wrestling.
Yep.
He never improved.
Nope.
Like, I criticise WWE a lot of times, and I will criticise them that they did kind of drop the ball on Zack Ryder. But Zack Ryder never met him halfway. Zack Ryder never improved his craft. It's like, look at it this way. This is one of the biggest problems I always have with John Cena. Look at John Cena 5 years ago. Watch a John Cena match from 5 years ago. And then watch a John Cena match today. It's pretty much the same. Watch a Daniel Bryan / CM Punk match from 5 years ago. And watch it today. There's fierce tweaks. They might be doing the same moves, but it's done in different ways. The story is told a lot different. And that's why I used to get Bret Hart so much respect. Is that you could watch 10 Bret Hart matches, and I know you're cringe, you know, and 10 of them will be different.
Are you just trying to piss me off today?
Yeah.
Bring it up Foley, bring it up Hart.
But that's what I'm saying. That is what pissing a lot of people off about WWE. Take the two guys that got such a bad time in New Jersey, Randy Orton and Sheamus. They wrestle the same every fucking match. Randy Orton does the reverse fucking backbreaker. He does the suplex. He fucking gears up, bangs the thing, and does an RKO. Sheamus, he puts you out the top rope, slap your chest 10 times, white noise, yeah, bro kick you in the match.
Yep.
They don't tweak or change anything. Even Austin was the most limited guy in the ring. But every single match wasn't just, oh, jump on you, punch you, stunner you.
Yeah, Luthez press. And...
You know? It'd be like, oh, we would fight out the outside, or there'd be different offenses, or they'd go on the top rope, or there'd be different elements to every single match. But this is what always pisses me off about John Cena, Randy Orton, and Sheamus, the three top guys apparently in WWE at the moment. Same moves, same actions, same reactions, same match, day after day after day. And I think it was summed up brilliant by Bryan about in his WrestleMania thing, is that all John Cena and The Rock were able to do was the same moves again and again.
Rock bottom, attitude adjustment. Rock bottom, attitude adjustment. And I'm glad I'm not the only one that noticed that, because I posted a photo the other day on our Facebook page, and they, you know, pretty much pointed that out. I still don't know what a sexy bottom was, or lazy bottom, or left bottom.
That was when Cena tried to rock bottom, I say. That would be my guess anyway. But, like, you just go back then 2 months before that at the Royal Rumble, and even at Elimination Chamber. Look at the matches The Rock was able to have with CM Punk. And then you look at what he did with John Cena. It's like, you have to improve and change. Because you come stale and boring. Chris Jericho used to say brilliant on his own DVD that when you went to Germany, You were wrestling in front of the same people every single week. So the matches, you could be the same opponent, but they have to be different matches.
Just like, you can fall in thumbtacks over and over and over again. But you're a god, a legend.
Yeah, but it's how you tell the story about when you go into the thumbtacks. As I said, there's wrestlers that use the same moves, but it's the stories you tell around the moves that make you into a legend. Like every single match you watch at CM Punk, or even go back to the day, even go back to Ric Flair. Ric Flair would always chop, Ric Flair would always do the woos, Ric Flair would always lay the finger four. But it was the story around that. And that's what nobody seems to be able to change nowadays. Is that every single match is the exact same, and there's no excitement there because you're watching a repeat. It's like watching an episode of Seinfeld. It's like, okay, it's funny, but I've seen this 100 times before.
Yeah. Speaking of Seinfeld, have you seen the new Nostalgia Critic video?
No, but I heard he's getting fair slack over it.
Yeah. It's an editorial.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
no, that's the only reason I brought up Seinfeld. You can bring up Friends, you can bring up Scrubs, you can bring up Frasier, or any old comedy like that. That's just stuck in my head because I just seen there is a new Nostalgia Critic out now here. He's getting abuse over it.
Yeah, basically he compared Louis to Seinfeld.
Ooh.
How, Seinfeld was not a show about nothing like they kept talking about.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Seinfeld was never a show about nothing.
Well, that's what it was always referred to as. So,
I mean, even fucking Seinfeld himself came out and said it was a show about how a comedian got his material.
Yeah, they talk about that in the video.
I'll do that.
So, yeah.
Alright, people, thanks
Don't watch it. It's an 8-minute video, so.
Yeah. Alright, people, thank you for joining us for our first shoot the shit here on our rebirth on YouTube. I'd like to thank Brian for joining me for nearly an hour and a half, and thank you very much for listening. As I said, we're still on Punkation. We just decided to talk a little bit about wrestling on here, so there will be other shows coming up. And Brian's first thoughts on Breaking Bad, that video will be coming up soon enough as well. So, take care, everybody.